AITA for hurting my boyfriend's ego with one sarcastic line after he embarrassed me in front of everyone at game night. I, 20F, have been dating my boyfriend Jake, 22M, for just under a year. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been good. Or at least I thought it was. We met at a party through a mutual friend, and I remember thinking he was one of those people who just lit up a room. Super funny, charming, and everyone around him seemed to like him. I'm more introverted, but something about him made me feel seen. He was attentive, affectionate, and made me laugh in ways I hadn't experienced before. So when we started dating, it felt like I was in this warm little bubble, like finally, I'd found someone who got me. But over the past few months, I've noticed something. When Jake is around his guy friends, especially his core group, Tyler, Mason, and a couple of others, he kinda changes. It's not like he becomes a different person, but it's like he tries really hard to be funny. Like, everything is a joke, and suddenly he's too cool to be sincere. I brush it off at first. Guys joke around, right? They tease. They play it off. Maybe he was nervous? But then it started to feel like there was this version of him I only saw when he wanted to impress them, and it didn't always include being kind to me. Anyway, last weekend Jake invited me to a game night at Tyler's apartment. I've been around his friends a couple of times, brief hellos before heading out somewhere, or when they'd swing by his place for a bit. But this was the first time I'd be hanging out with them for real. I was excited. Honestly, I thought it was a good sign that maybe this meant he saw a future with me, that he wanted me to be part of his world. There were about 8 of us, mostly couples, except Mason and another guy named Brent. People were already drinking by the time we arrived, and everyone was in a good mood, laughing, joking, passing chips around. I felt welcomed, even though I didn't know everyone that well. We played a couple of casual games, like Uno and some party trivia thing. Then someone suggested we do a round of this drinking game that had a mix of truth or dare, never have I ever, and some random card prompts. One round involved everyone going around and saying one compliment about the person to their left. It started out fun. Someone said their girlfriend made the best mac and cheese. Another guy said his buddy was the most loyal person he knew. Everyone was kind of buzzed and laughing, but there was a warmth to it too. Like people were being silly, but also sincere. Then it came to Jake's turn. The prompt was, say one thing you love about your partner. I smiled at him, not in a I expect a love poem way, just in a we're having fun and I can't wait to hear what you say way. He looked around, chuckled, and said, oh man, I don't know, she's cool, I guess. And then he laughed, like it was funny, like the idea of complimenting me sincerely was just too much. For a second, I thought I misheard, or that he was going to follow it up with something real. But he didn't. He just shrugged like that's it. The room went awkwardly quiet. Then Mason snorted and said, cold, bro, and a few others laughed, but it was definitely one of those yikes laughs. And I just sat there, smiling, like a complete idiot. Because what else do you do when your boyfriend casually dismisses you in front of his friends? I can't describe how small I felt. I know to some people it's just a joke. Maybe to him too. But to me, it felt like he was saying, you're not special to me in front of the people whose opinions matter most to me. I wanted to crawl inside myself. I didn't say anything right then. I just kept my smile on, sipped my drink, and tried to keep up with the game. But my heart was pounding in that awful tight don't cry here kind of way. Then it was my turn. The prompt came back around to me. Same one. Say something you love about your partner. I looked at Jake, smiled sweetly, and said, yeah, he's all right too, I guess. And I turned to the next person without missing a beat. The room exploded. Like, people were laughing for real this time. Tyler clapped. One girl was like, damn, she got you good, and someone else said, that's fair, and gave me a fist bump. Jake didn't laugh. At all. He went stiff. Quiet. You could feel the shift in the room. People moved on, but he didn't say much for the rest of the night. Didn't touch me. Barely looked at me. I tried to brush it off again. Like, okay, maybe he's embarrassed. He'll get over it. But the ride home was silent. Uncomfortably so. When we finally pulled into his driveway, he just sat there with his hands on the wheel and said, why did you do that? I was like, do what? He turned to me and said, you made me look like an asshole in front of everyone. And I just blinked at him. I said, Jake, you made yourself look like that. I just treated you the same way you treated me. He shook his head. It wasn't the same. I was joking. You were being petty. There's a difference. And I just snapped a little. I told him, yeah, there's a difference. You embarrassed me to look cool. I clapped back to show you how it felt. And now I'm the bad guy. He went quiet again, then said, you don't always have to fight back, you know? Sometimes it's better to just let things go. And I said, sure. But why is it always me that has to let it go? Why is it okay for you to laugh at my expense, but not okay when I return the energy? He didn't have an answer, Just said he was tired and didn't want to talk anymore. That was 4 days ago. Since then, he's barely texted. Just short replies like, okay, or we'll see. No calls. No effort to meet up. When I asked if we could talk about it, he said he needed space to think. So here I am, thinking. Part of me feels proud for standing up for myself, for not sitting there and letting someone who supposedly loves me treat me like I'm a joke. But another part of me wonders, was I too harsh? Did I humiliate him? Should I have waited to talk to him in private? I didn't want to hurt him, but I did want him to understand what it felt like. I didn't even think it would blow up like this. I honestly thought he'd laugh and move on, but now he's acting like I stabbed him in the back. So, Ida,